I have always been. I was created this way by Ma. She is an elder god, the youngest of 5. The elder gods are ancient primordial beings, the creators of this universe. Ma's power is rooted in potential, in darkness and in light. I am a divine aspect of dark energy. I came into being atop this volcano on which we currently reside. Ma was left here by the other elder gods. They believed her still dead. But she survived, and eventually clawed her way out to the volcano's crater. Her sisters gone, she was alone, and poured what little energy she had into creating me. I was born in the infancy of this universe. Eons. To my knowledge, only the elder gods are older. All beings are unique, but I understand your meaning. There is one other akin to I, the divine aspect of light energy. I shall not speak of it here, but I sense you have an inkling of whom I speak. I left here solely to get away from Ma. She is cruel and possessive. I had to be free of her. I traveled the universe, met many mortal races, and both learned and taught a great many things. The exploration and discovery was enough to begin with. But I came to need a purpose. I have seen the entire span of creation, the progression of the elder gods, and knew immediately upon my arrival that Dayln was special. It was there that I found my purpose. In order to achieve my goals, I must return there, and with a corporeal form. All gods rally followers to them, whether they mean to or not. Mortals cannot help themselves. Some gods take advantage of this. In my youth, I was guilty of this. When I arrived, there were many young gods carving out territory, engaged in petty skirmishes, border disputes. I sought to unify them under my banner, but they resisted. But those under my charge were uplifted. My empire led to a great many advancements. Industry, medicine, technology, magically discovered. It is true that many died in the name of progress. But many times more prospered humans, demons, and vampires alike. More died in its destruction at the behest of Zaros and Zamorak than ever in its creation. I do not know what you have heard, but the only two beings present were myself and Zamorak. Anything else you have heard is either lies, rumor, or speculation, and it is not something I care to discuss. Not even the elder gods know or see all. If that were the case, I would never have been able to leave this place. Ma would not have allowed it. So, no. I did not anticipate for Zamorak's ascension, nor did I engineer it. Equally, I do not begrudge it. He taught me a valuable lesson that day. He taught me of betrayal. Sometimes, simply being the largest target is enough to become vilified. But it is also because I sought unification. I wanted to bring all the young gods under one banner, but they would not recognize my divinity. I would have welcomed them all, but they were blinkered by their own narrow, dogmatic views, and so they rejected me. I did not start wars. I was just better at them. And through war, I started to make progress. Zaros feared retribution from those remnants of my empire who remained loyal to me. Saradomin sought my secrets. Whether to steal them or bury them, I cannot say. Ultimately, it is not important. The empire failed and is no more. To build another would be folly. Mortals cannot be united by will or by force alone. Even if they could be, doing so would take more time than we have. I will get to that in due course. This is not crucial information. There will be a time to discuss this later, should you wish. Without her, I would not exist, but she is like a child. As such, she was unable to teach me much of anything. What I have learned, I have discovered since I left. She is an elder god, the youngest of 5. Yet the anima of this plane was not sufficient to nourish them all, and Ma was malformed. She was born without memory or knowledge, only instinct. After finally clawing her way to the surface, her first instinct was to pour what little energy she had into the creation of me and my companion. That would likely be an affront to the other elder gods. To her, I was akin to a child's doll. She is mentally fractured, but I have intellect, and I could not abide her possessiveness. As soon as she started to weaken, I left. It seems that our presence has stirred Ma. When you awake, we will have to deal with the consequences. He was like a myth, spoken of in hushed tones by those of his followers who had not allied with other gods. I would very much have liked to have met him. We shared some ideals. We both value mortal life enough to step aside, though where he would lead them to their own devices and their own failures, I would guide them subtly towards their true destiny. I would not impose my beliefs on mortals as other gods do, nor force them into worship of me. My aim is to be the voice that drives them to greatness. Not all would heed the call, but not all have to. I know that you are a follower of Sen. Neither of you need fear me. By all means, continue to serve me. I will not ask anything of you that conflicts with your beliefs. In fact, I am pleased that you would seek her guidance and protection, and in turn, protect her. However, that is all I'm willing to say about Seth. Ah, yes. As we discuss certain topics, you will be seeing manifestations drawn from my memories. Yes, this is how she looked when last I saw her. No more questions of ceremony. He was once my most trusted general. I never had cause to doubt his loyalty. right up until the point that he betrayed me. I do not know what led him to it. In some ways he epitomizes what I advocate. He has a strong will and has overcome his limitations, but he did so at my own expense. Revenge would serve no purpose, but even if it would, I would have no time to enact it. There are more pressing matters that require my attention. He is self-righteous, seeing things only in extremes. It was from him that I first learned of the notions of good and evil. I dismiss such notions. There are only actions and consequences. We agreed to disagree. Everything to him is either black or white. But he himself exists in the grey. Ergo, he is a contradiction. Yet many have prospered under his rule, most notably your species. So, there is some merit in what he espouses. And he has become the most powerful young god in the wake of Gothic's end. He would make for a good envoy, if only he would widen his world view a little. When I knew him, he was idealistic and naive, but his intentions were always pure. There is value in that. Hazanadra has told me of the tragic loss Armadale suffered during the God Wars. If he had given in to his despair, I would have no interest in him. But his recent victory over Bandas suggests this event has forged him. I shall watch his progress intently. He had a brilliant strategic mind, and an innate ability to expose the truth in any situation. If only he could have curtailed his eternal desire for war, he might have proven useful. I have more interest in the one who defeated him, and in those who will succeed him. The god may die, but the philosophy is eternal. In time, another will grow to take his place, be they a god or not. As Zamorak taught me of betrayal, Hazanadra has taught me of loyalty. He had no reason to remain so after my banishment, and yet he has. In my empire, he stood at the head of the church. He has also since proven himself a worthy general. And he has kept the faith for all these centuries, when so many others chose to forget me. He is loyal, devout, intelligent, strong, and honorable. He has power, but does not misuse it. He embodies all of the traits that I hold dear. Finally, he has brought you to my attention. You who find yourself at the center of all things. Sliski's loyalty has only ever been to himself. When our goals align, he can prove useful. But his recent exploits are not something I can condone. I cannot stand as both judge and executioner. I leave it to those he has wronged to bring him to any justice they feel he deserves. I did not. I am glad. They did not exist when I left this earth. But when I first encountered them, I knew instantly that we shared kindred. Their name means the children of Ma. Their crystals mark their divine origin. They were unmistakable relations. I saw them as younger siblings and sought to protect them. Divine creations are more fragile than you realize. Their race is the epitome of potential, but their fate is also sealed. Had he known what he was truly dealing with, Ixlaran may never have brought them to Dayln. He tried to rein in their nature, and it was not long before one of their number broke free. It was easy for me to convince that breakaway of my superiority. Not all Margaret chose to leave Ixlaran's service, but the few that remained did not last long. So, in a desperate final act, the desert god Churaki devastated his own lands to discourage me. I was given dwarves and ended my campaign. I realized that I had become what I was fighting against. From that point on, I slowly started to remove my presence from the Empire. I provided the Majorat with the means to rejuvenate themselves on Dayln, something of which Ixlaran was incapable, for he did not understand them. And I encouraged them to be less wasteful with their rituals. If they were to become leaders in the Empire, they had to endure. They are an intriguing race, but we will need to deal with them if we are to rouse the Elder Gods. I suspect their home plane was destroyed soon after the Elder Gods first left RuneScape. A small number of Dragonkin survived this revision, taking shelter in the Abyss, among the detritus of previous cycles. This is a truth best revealed slowly. You will come to it in time. I believe the surviving Dragonkin sought out Jas for mercy, or retribution, only to end up bound to her catalyst. For the Elder Gods to hear the pleas of mortals will require someone to bridge the gap. Only a being of divine origin, such as I, has a hope of communicating with them. Next is an almost perfect creation, but even she has limitations. She is unfailingly loyal. She can be no other way. It was the act of her creation that steered me on the path towards Elder Godhood. The young gods fear her, not because of her strength, but because of how she came into being, what she represents. Not exactly. The nihil only came into being due to Mara's own energy. The creation of life is beyond. Because of this, to me, the nihil were a failure. Save for one who stood apart from the pack. I gave her consciousness, and she became next. One success from so much failure. I was fascinated by the Horsepower race, and by Char especially. She was reminiscent of one I used to know. I drew great comfort from that. I am very pleased to have discovered that Zamorak did not kill her. I will welcome her in my presence once more. Such a noble race. I am ashamed to say I failed them. I sought to overcome the race's infertility, but Zamorak deposed me before I could find the solution. But I am only able to alter existing forms of life. As an elder god, the solution would be trivial. Call them by their true name, Iluyanka. Their memory deserves respect. I am shocked that he has managed to survive this long, but pleasantly surprised. This is most fortuitous. Indeed, he will be well placed to aid my cause. We share a mutual goal. It is unfortunate, however, that he has swapped one prison for another. Demons were the first conscious life I encountered after leaving RuneScape. I was fascinated by their culture, language, government and beliefs. I took the infernal tongue for my own, having had no need of speech before, and I used that language to seal them in a pact of servitude. Do not judge demonkind by those you have experienced. You will have only met the embittered Avernic slaves Zaros led in an uprising after my banishment. My pact was with their Chthonian masters. Their forms were a seemingly random array of appendages, but they had one unifying trait: the ability to absorb knowledge from that which they ate. Ergo, within the strictures of demonic law, cannibalism was outlawed. Telling me, the punishment for many crimes was to be eaten. Thus, those in power grew ever more knowledgeable. I can sense your unease that I would ally myself with such beings. But you should understand that they were not monsters. They were vastly intelligent, their pursuits cultural and artistic. Their value was in the militaristic Avernic forces they marshaled, and they rarely involved themselves directly in combat. Even though they were immensely difficult to kill, their numbers dwindled over the course of my empire. It is possible that some still survive to this day, buried in the deep places of the world. I once had a pet Vidius, named Ocelos. He and his brother, Oriceus, stood vigil beside my throne, even when it sat empty. Virii are Chthonian pack animals, akin to Avernic hellhounds, or your dogs. I was initially less convinced by the vampires, but being only the second race I encountered, I had little to compare them to. At first, they were nothing more than predatory beasts, but I applied what I had learned from the demons and gave them a society. As with any burgeoning society, there was bloodshed and civil war, but eventually an aristocracy rose up that persists to this day. Even vampires have the potential for good or ill, but their thirst is ever present and often overcomes their will. I was not aware I was making a choice. These were just the first races I encountered. These races originate from the lower planes, these being the earliest creations of the elder gods, and which are nearest to RuneScape. I would have gladly accepted all mortal species under my banner, but by the time I had reached the higher planes, those races had adopted the doctrines of other gods. I do not understand your question. Do not confuse darkness and light with evil and good. Real life does not deal in absolutes, nor extremes. All life falls on a spectrum, and all life has capacity for both good and evil. Judge me only by my actions and my words, not by the words of others. I have made mistakes, but I do what I do because it must be done. Because there is no other who would. No other I could. It is my belief that everything that occurs in life, both good and bad, should be used to forge oneself, to better oneself. If we give in to weakness, then we do not deserve the gift of life. Where Gothic sought balance in the world, I seek balance in oneself. One must strive to increase in power, but also in knowledge of how to wield that power. The younger gods have tended to fulfill only one of these things. You, World Guardian, fulfill both of these criteria. First, I must obtain a new body and regain my divine status. With it, I shall return to my ultimate ambition. I intend to claim my birthright and become an elder god. Only then will I be able to stand equal to the universe's creators and speak on behalf of mortals. Once I return, I shall wake the elder gods. I will speak for all mortals, and the elder gods will listen. They are where they have always been, since the creation of Dayln. On Dayln. First, I need you to make your way below Mars to the planet's core. Once there, I require you to gather some of her divine energy and use it to weave me a new body. I hope to call on you. There is much to be done if we are to succeed. I will not ask anything of you that compromises your beliefs, or conflicts with your status as World Guardian. Until then, do as you would always do. Choose your path. Follow whatever philosophy or god you desire. I do not require your fealty, though I welcome it, should you wish to give it. I only require your support when you are called upon, for the benefit of all. All else matters not in the face of the great revision. All in due time. Allow me to recap the two crucial pieces of information you require for what comes next. First, that I am a creation of the elder god Mara. She is the being lying comatose within this volcano's crater. And second, that I require some of Mars' elder energy to be woven into a new corporeal form for me to inhabit. This new body must be a dark simulacrum. A light simulacrum will reject my essence. Enough talk, World Guardian. Though Ma only stirs in her sleep, her nightmares will manifest and attack on sight, and her cries of pain will cripple you. You need only survive until her terrors subside. Only then will it be safe for us to proceed. But first, you must choose whether or not to allow me in. If you allow me in, I can lend you my strength to survive Mars' onslaught. I will not go beyond what you permit, and will leave once she is quelled, or should you ask it of me. Do not let me in, and I cannot help it. You put both our lives in jeopardy, and above that risk the fate of the very universe. Make your choice. We are out of time. Have you woven the divine simulacrum? Yes. This is exactly what I need to return to full strength. You have done well, World Guardian. I am in your debt. Please, place it on the ground in front of me when you are ready. breaking. We have to leave. I need your permission. Well, Guardian, now! Ma awakes. Not yet. You have granted me new life. Before we return, I would acknowledge that. Time enough. I am pleased to hear that. You may come to learn something about me, that I compel loyalty within others, forcibly. It is not something I have control of. It is something that was done to me by Ma. I am unable to rid myself of this ability, but I must live with it. Do not be concerned. It does not affect you, World Guardian. Yes. It is one of the reasons I chose to withdraw from my own empire. I find the idea of coercing another mind to be distasteful. But it only affects those in my presence, and the effect dissipates with time. This is how I know that those still loyal to me are truly loyal. They have not been under its effects for many centuries, yet still heed my call. I wished for you to know this from me, so that you could understand it. Lead on through the gate. I will follow. I wish to address my loyal followers upon my return.
My lord, you are returned. You are exactly as I remember.
We have the World Guardian to thank for that.
You have my eternal gratitude. This cannot go unrewarded.
I shall reward her in due course. But first, Sliske?
I am yours to command. Just say the word.
No more.
What did you say?
No more.
But no, I am loyal. Have I not always been loyal? Have I not done everything you've always asked of me? As the Empire fell, did I not keep safe those things necessary for your return? Was I not pivotal in the liberation of all those who stand before? Did I not kill a god for you? You cannot turn me away! Not now, Zaros, please!
Sliske, stop.
Very well. I guess I'm not quite the actor I thought. What gave me away?
You betray yourself. Though, in truth, I have never trusted you. And your words of betrayal to the World Guardian cannot be ignored.
Betrayal? They could have just walked away, left you to rot. I was just convincing them to hear you out. It was down to you to convince them of your worth.
Whatever your intent, no longer can I turn a blind eye to your disobedience, nor condone your methods.
Are you sure it's not just because me killing Gothics puts me beyond your control? Fine. Don't answer. So, what's next? An intervention? Family counseling? Maybe some trust exercises?
Excommunication. You will have no further association with us. You are on your own.
Oh, I've always been alone. But I guess this means you'll have to find someone else to do your dirty work. Your new World Guardian pet, perhaps.
Leave us, Never return.
As you command, my lord. But don't think this is over, World Guardian. I'm just getting started with you. Where I'm concerned, Zaros' protection of you no longer applies. Between you and me, all bets are off. Be seeing you.
You are important. You must be kept safe.
Ever since you helped me to restore our connection to him.
Cha, keep an eye on Slipsky. It gives me pause that he holds both the siphon and the catalyst. I do not want him thinking he can follow in Zamorak's footsteps. He is angry, and may attempt something rash. Inform me if he leads you to the location of either artifact. None of the young gods should have free access to such tools. Especially the catalyst. The Dragon King cannot grow too strong before we are placed to deal with them.
As you command. I'm heartened to see you returned.
Next, I task you with keeping Sliskay's little game in check. Watch the young gods. Try to contain their destruction as much as possible, but do not get drawn into open conflict. There may come a time that I need you to step in to ensure nothing interferes with my plans. And as circumstances allow, continue harrying the other gods' forces without your prison of ice.
At once, my lord.
And to Azanadra, my most loyal servant. Together, we must prepare to rouse the Elder Gods. Zamorak's desperation at the end of the last God War scarred this planet's anima mundi, but even that was not enough to wake them. Only Gothics.
You wish to create a greater level of destruction?
Not greater, more targeted. I require you to seek out Gileno's own Elder Halls. If disturbed, the Elder Gods will have no choice but to respond.
It will be done, my lord.
Finally, to you, World Guardian. This was my realization when I last returned here. If we do nothing, then what sits within them shall bring about the destruction of this world, this universe. But save your questions for another time. Do you have anything to say for yourself? I am glad you came to this conclusion, but this is just the beginning. There is much work ahead of us. You will save us all, regardless of your intentions or the outcome. It would be remiss of me not to reward you. I am reinvigorated, and I am back where I am needed. Our task has urgency, but I am confident in those who stand at my side. Together, we can change all our fates. You should have this. You will find many uses for it. Primarily, if you use this in my sanctum on Freneske, it will allow us to commune at any time. If you remain unconvinced by my philosophy, then my hope is that this will help to remedy that. When carried, it will mark you as my envoy. Those loyal to me will treat you with respect, and those opposed will be fearful of you. And though it may be dangerous, especially now Mara has reawakened, you may wish to revisit Freneske. I am certain you will find more value there. Now has come the time for us to part, World Guardian. Reflect on all you have witnessed this day. Gileno's reckoning is coming, but there is still time for us to avert it. Until I call on you again, do as you otherwise would, had we not met. Pax Tecum.